Hi everyone, it's Chelle from Shawl Crochet. Welcome to my February mid-month check-in. Hi everyone, welcome back to Shawl Crochet. How are you today? First of all, let's celebrate a little bit. Somehow, in the last year, there's become a group of over 1,000 of us here together at Shawl Crochet. And I'm super excited and very thankful to have you all here. Welcome if you're new. I'll give you a little bit of a background. I had started videoing on YouTube because I made Jayda InStitches calendar blanket in 2018 and I couldn't figure out a way to share, I guess you could say, with some others who were making it, the entire blanket. So I started to make some montage videos back then. And that became a little bit more regular until finally in November of 2019, I actually started to jump on here in person. And I answered a couple of tags at the very end of 2019. So those are my very first videos. I do have a number of playlists on my channel. If you want to have a look, there's a playlist that has everything. There's playlists with just my podcasts. There's a playlist that is Cals and Mals. And then there's a playlist that's tags. And then I think there's also one of the montages where I just show my work from before I started podcasting and don't speak. So if you ever want to catch up, you can always have a look there. And I'd love to hear from you if you're new or anybody. I always love hearing from everyone. So anyway, welcome. And let's get right into February. So I had said in January as part of my goals that I'm going to hop on twice a month now on the regular as I'm continuing to sort of find my way through podcasting here on YouTube. And one of the things I'll be starting the mid-month updates with is around acquisitions. I've decided that I'm not going to consider an acquisition real until it's in my hands. So regardless of when I ordered it, you'll hear about it once I have it. So not too many from last month, but I did have to pick up the yarn for that lovely Bag O' Day vest I made for my girlfriend. I can pop up a couple more pictures here in case you haven't seen it, but it is featured in last month's podcast. And it's just Bernat Super Value in the color navy, and that was requested. And I was able to get that on sale. And then that was my first curbside pickup from Michael's in all of lockdown. Anyway, and then my second curbside pickup from Michael's was because I found camo yarn on sale, and I'll show it to you. Camo items have become a big hit in my crochet community in terms of people who want things from me, and I was able to find some of this Red Heart Super Saver in the color actually called Camouflage, marked down to like $3 and change, $3 and somewhere between 3 and 20 cents or something like that. A couple weeks back, and this was one of the only colors that they had, particularly at my Michael's. It was one of the only colors that they had in stock, so I grabbed a bunch of those. And then because there's something else on clearance that I've never tried before, I did grab 2 of these. So it's Bernat Toasty, and those were marked down to $6.99 at the time for the big balls. And the colorway on this one is Shadow. And yeah, so just a couple of things. I am waiting on an order from Walmart that was ordered sort of third week of January. And we'll see if I actually get that or not, because they almost have no yarn online now, and that's not even a stretch. It's been really up and down throughout all of the pandemic, but it's been really sparse lately. Anyway, just a couple of acquisitions to share with you. And now let's actually talk about the one finished object that I had for the end of January that didn't make it into the video because it was finished after, and that was my Daphne baby blanket. I heard about this from Debbie, the Canadian Crocheter, and I considered it a bit of a challenge, so I went ahead and tried it. I wanted this to be like full-on baby blanket, and I'm down to only one boy blanket and one like neutrals. So I wanted something that was gonna scream a little bit more girl in case anyone asked me for a baby blanket. And this is the color palette I chose. Let me show you a bit more. Whoops, here we go. But I will pop up a picture I watched the tutorial, then I made the blanket after. I think I did it right in terms of what she did. I did choose to crochet it together, which generally I whip stitch all my grannies together of any sort, but I did kind of like the ridge on this one, so I did opt for a single crochet join. And I mean, the middle turned out pretty well, so I think it's what you're supposed to do. And the corners turned out okay too. So everything's nice and flat, and it hasn't even been, I don't even think it's been, my version of blocking for anything that's allowed to go in the dryer is to throw it in the dryer with a damp t-shirt for 5 minutes until it gets nice and hot, and then take it out and give it a good stretch. When it says on the yarn you can put it in the dryer, just have to be clear there. I don't want to send anyone astray. But I was a little disappointed with the yarn I grabbed initially because both the multi, which is a mill end from Yarn Inspirations, and the yellow, which is a Lion Brand Pound of Love, are much thinner than the white, which was an old Super Saver white that my mom actually gave me. And then this sort of gumball pink was also a mill end. They were much thicker, and I hate when that happens because I could have worked around that with other yarns that I had, but oh well, it worked out fine. You can't really tell in the blanket, but it drives me a little batty when I see the texture is so off one to the other. I just like it when the yarns match up nicely. So yeah, had fun with this. I could see myself making another one. I also would love to do it with just cakes because doing the color changes the way I did them, it meant that there was a lot of ends. And there doesn't have to be with this one, right? That's part of the reason that you do it. I will link the tutorial below. You're basically making 4 triangle grannies and then getting them together where they meet in the middle. So that's my last finished object for January. And in terms of my secret February birthday projects, I can share with you some gag gifts that I made for my brother-in-law's 40th birthday. He turned 40 and he was the last one in the family sort of to turn 40. So of course everyone wanted to make him feel old, and I made him a cane. And I purchased this candy cane in November at the dollar store, and I decided I was going to give it that wrap, the same style like you would wrap a wreath or anything. So you just make a rectangular piece of fabric and then sew it together. That's what I did, and it worked out just fine. I also wanted to particularly use this blanket yarn, which is called Mallard Wood, because it was part of what they had gifted me for my 50th. And I knew he knew the name of that yarn, so I thought that would be funny. And here's a finished picture of his cane. So I think we were successful. There was a lot of other gag gifts that went along with his real presents to make him feel nice and old. So, and there are still a few under wraps. I will pop up some pictures of cotton things here that are going to one of my buddies for his kitchen and his bathroom. And there's a couple more sitting beside me here that I can grab in a second. But I did make some things for his birthday in cotton, and all Bernat Handicrafter cotton. That'll be the rule of thumb here. If you don't hear otherwise, it's Bernat Handicrafter cotton. If you ever want to know the actual color, just leave me a comment and I'll look it up for you. But yeah, because I have tons of that yarn. That's our most available kitchen cotton here, so that's the one I go to most. And then the other ones I did. So I got the cone from Spin Right last year at some point, and it was just this color here, which I'm calling aqua because this didn't even have a label, right? So this would actually be peaches and cream because it was being sold off as an off-color product, and it was a cone, which we don't really get handicrafter in cones. We get them in the huge skeins. And then this one is a soap saver that I did. So just held double with Handicrafter Scrub Off, and it's in a similar colorway. So I've started putting holes in mine so that when you're in the shower, you can actually get the soap to come through and use it as a scrubby. I figure like you don't have to have it just make it pretty. You can have it be practical as well. And I quite like using these types of things in the shower, but there's got to be a place for the soap to come through because it sticks when it dries, right? It just sticks to the cotton. So that's my little putting some windows in my soap savers now for the soap to actually come through. Okay, another one here. This is lemon peel. Actually, so was the other cloth I showed you. And this is just in one of those nice, it's got like taupes and there's like a shade of pink going through it, and then the Aran. And I have no idea. This is probably a discontinued colorway. I haven't seen it in a long time. That was originally a big, huge skein of Handicrafter as well. Yeah, so for mid-month, I've had a lot of inquiries lately about rugs of different styles. So those are on the go, or some of them are on the go and some of them will be on the go. I think you'll probably be able to see a couple of finished objects on that by the end of the month. And then there's 2 birthday gifts that will be 100% finished and gifted by my podcast at the end of February. So both of those are almost done as well, but can't show them yet. So I will be checking off another Make 9 though, because one of them is a pattern from my Make 9. Okay, so let's get to Cals and Mals. So you saw in December that I received a Christmas present from my mom, which was in my December wrap-up, I showed the calendar, popping up a picture here, the crochet calendar. And now lots of people are getting it, and there's a whole fun crochet thing going on related to this calendar. I'm going to participate to the best of my ability. I knew I wasn't going to get to the calendar in January because of all of the gift projects I had on the go for February birthdays. So I will get to it hopefully soon, but I think what I'm going to do is pick 6 of them that I want to make, because I don't want to put too much pressure on myself. And if I end up being able to fit in / want to make more than 6 within the calendar, I will definitely share those with you as well. There is a whole sort of cal now going on with regards to this calendar. So if I do get to that project sooner than by my February podcast at the end of the month, then I will come back and do like a short video just about that. And speaking of Cals and Mals, I am doing a 2-in-1. So I am going to participate in Setta's CalendarCAL in a different way this year and combine it with Jayda InStitches Mighty Mile a Minute. I knew I wasn't going to have time to do sort of 12 cowls this year after just having done the 12 hats. I didn't really want to just jump right into that, but I got the idea to use the colors from Setta's calendar and then do the Mile a Minute strips for Jayda's Mighty Mile a Minute CalendarCAL as well, blanket. So January and February are done. I'm going to pop up a picture of the January color with the calendar. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then the February calendar with the yarn colors. And then here's my strips. Okay, so let's get the chuckles out of the way, but this was my first time ever doing Join As You Go. For some reason, I've just never ever been interested in it. Big chicken, right? But here she is, January and February. And I am using some of this soft taupe yarn that I got sent by Spin Right last summer when I was trying to get the gray, but they sent me all this. So it's good because I'll be able to use some of it up this year for sure. And I'm hoping that because the calendars are very sort of like scenery based, that having that sort of sandy color offsetting each of the months will complement. So that's what I'm hoping for anyway. So the blue is a mill end, and the pink was a Fentex worsted, which is very similar to like Bernat Super Value. But Fentex is part of the whole Yarnspirations umbrella. And it's got Summer Nights, Line Brand Summer Nights running through it to give it some of the other colors that were part of the calendar. I just opted to pull the pinks out of that snow instead of go for some of the other colors. And yeah, I had a hell of a time with the February strip, and I know other people did as well. For whatever reason, my V stitches were not nearly the same height as the granny or split shell, as Jayda was calling it, for January. And I went up a half hook size to try to accommodate, and then just really had to stretch it to get it to join. And it did go eventually, but I know a lot of people were quite alarmed by it. Ended up reaching out to Jayda, and she was very kind and got back to me super quickly. So I was able to share all that information on the Facebook group with those that were asking about it. But yeah, it's very interesting because I don't generally have that level of tension issues. So I just find that those stitches don't necessarily complement each other in the height because of the structure, right? Like, anyway, I don't want to get too into it because some of you are not involved in this project at all. So anyway, let's suffice it to say that I'm happy with it in the end, but it was a bit of a struggle. And yeah, so good practice for me to do Join As You Go now that I know what it is. and it'll be super easy. What I do think I might do once I get a break from some of the things I have on the go is just go back and do a baby blanket in the first one, which she calls the split shell, because I really liked how that was looking. And I think that's more of the traditional mile a minute is what people are used to seeing for that first strip anyway. But one of the things I like about the CalendarCAL for Jayda is that we're going to do 12 different stitches. So that'll be very interesting to see how that all works up in the mile a minute fashion. So yay. Okay, that's Cal's. Now, what's next? Okay, so one other quick thing. This is a corner to corner triangle shawl that I made. And I've had it forever. If I have a picture of me wearing it as a shawl, I'll pop it up here. But it was bugging me because I would use it at night on the couch a lot, and I was constantly flipping with the arms, doing whatever. So literally when I was wearing it the other day, I just sewed up the middle. So now it's a poncho. It's perfect. And yeah, so as long as you've made your shawl big enough that it's coming down around you, that it would still be good as a poncho. 2 for 1. And yeah, way more practical now because this is kind of my go-to when I'm chilly at night while I'm crocheting and my arms are nice and free. And yeah, so that was just a happy accident, and I still had some of that yarn. The yarn that I had used to do this is a charcoal gray that I'm sewing my my new Diamond Granny, Diamond Granny Part 2 blanket, Take 2 blanket. I'm using the same yarn, so I had it handy because of those squares. So I just used it to sew up. And yeah, that was fun. Much more practical that way. Okay, I promised that I would do a little thing on hats. Disclaimer, wear your hat however you like to wear your hat. This segment is designed for people who struggle to wear hats and never think they look good in hats, because I was one of those people. I'm going to pop up a picture of me wearing the hat that was a store-bought hat, which was one of my first winter hats. It's got to be 20 plus years old. It's gone. Like, I don't have it anymore. It got so misshapen, I just couldn't even wear it. But I liked how it looked on me, and I couldn't figure out what the deal was. Like, it took me until I was, I don't know, it took me until I got that hat to ever feel like I looked decent in a winter hat. So all of a sudden, you know, partway through, and also once I started crocheting hats to compare with the one that I liked, I realized it was because it was so much bigger on my head. So here's what I'm going to show you. I love this hat. This was a gift from my friend Nicole at Alpaca My Yarns Maz Designs. But this is a bit snug for me, so I want to show you what's going to happen when I go to put it on. So this is going to pull, and this one isn't even that bad because of the kind of hat it is. It stretches, but see how it's pulling down my bangs? And it's both not how I want my hair to look, but it's also like, if you've, you know, back when we were doing things and you actually wanted to make yourself look nice to go out or something, the last thing you want to do is like wreck your hair, right? So my way around that is to have really big hats. And I put them on at the back of my head, kind of where my bangs start. And then I like a slouchy hat, so it doesn't really matter, but I like a slouchy hat. So that's how my hats usually are. And yeah, it's really big, and if I was to really like go crazy, it would come off. But my idea with hats in general, because we often make them for other people, is that a good hat should be able to be worn 3 ways. You should be able to put it on at the back of your head like this. It's still covering my ears, and it's nice and loose, and it slouches. But if it's cold, you should be able to then just turn up the brim and have it be more of a beanie. And then you're going to get the extra around your ears where you need it, and it's going to be better fitted. But look, it's still like not killing my hair, right? And then in Canada, we have these hats much more like this style. We call them toques. And so they sit up more on the top of your head, right? Sort of, I think that I would associate that a little bit with knitted hats. So you get that peak at the top, and you should be able to do that. Like if I had a pom-pom on this hat, you could get that look with this hat as well. So I know not a lot of people are going to be super comfortable with having a huge hat on their head, but just try it, especially if you have fringe, and you'll see what you like about it or what you don't. And I'll try one last one on for you. This one was held double with Shawl ball, so it has some sparkle running through it. And the brim on this, I made this a little bit too tight on me, but I'll show you. So you still get that nice kind of look, right? It gives the hat something going on in it. So anyway, we were trying a bunch of hats on in the fall when the girls came over, and we're looking at some crochet, and one of my girlfriends in particular loves her hats really tightly fitted to her head. And if you don't have an issue with your hair bothering you or anything like that, obviously, whatever you prefer. But if you've always kind of considered yourself you're not a hat person, I would go both ways. Try super tight and try super loose and see what you like, and just try playing around with what's involved in terms of the material of your hat. Like, have you put enough into the hat for it to fit you well? That's probably one of the things I would suggest. Okay, so questions, comments. I would like some advice too. Is there any particular person's tutorial or video that you've watched that really made you want to make that hat, wear that hat, and why? And like, you know, what did you think? Because I only want to do these parts in my videos if it's useful. Last time I got some feedback that it would be useful, so I did this part again, and I hope you enjoyed it. So that was my little ode to wear hats to make you happy, and I hope you enjoyed it. And please leave me a comment below and let me know what you think. Okay, so the one last thing I can talk to you about is that there's a third Make 9 project that I have on the go, and that is the hoodie, picture here, by Yarnspirations. And I started it last week, and it's probably going to be a good month. I'm not so sure if it'll even make it into the end of the month podcast because I've got so many other things I've got to have on the go, but it is a good project to be able to come and go from because you work it in the panels, so I can kind of go back and forth. And also it's going to be a pattern only. There's no tutorial for this one. So yeah, that one is on the go as well. So I'm feeling good about being mid-February with 3 of the Make 9s, 1 completed and 2 underway. So that's good for this year, right? Well guys, thanks for joining me again this month and spending this time with me. I'm gonna send you off with a few Valentine-y type delicious things to look at, and wish you all a great day and happy crochet. See you soon. Bye.